Aloha and welcome to our video discussing the types of behavior. In this video, we will describe parental care, courtship, defensive, and territorial behaviors, and we'll give some examples of spatial learning, imprinting, and observational learning. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about types of innate behavior. And if you remember the innate behaviors, those were two that were focused on either food or safety. Okay, so those are the important things that we need to make sure that we're there if we're to stay alive. When we have our innate behaviors, we can kind of break them down into 5 different groups. The first one is going to be parental care. And by parental care, what we're talking about is ensuring that the offspring survive, being a good parent. And some examples of these would be in our newly hatched birds, they want to eat right away, or the building of a nest, or things of that nature, something that's going to ensure that offspring are going to survive. The next innate behavior is going to be courtship. And while courtship isn't food or safety per se, it is the propagation of the species. So it does fit in here. And the main purpose for courtship is quite simply to attract a mate. So examples of these would be like a male peacock when he opens up his tail feathers and fans them out. What he's doing is he's trying to attract a mate. Then we get into our more safety ones. The first are going to be the defensive behaviors. And these are going to be things to avoid or protect you against predators. And things that we'll see here are going to be some warning coloration. We see it in wasps, we'll see it in fish, where you'll have an animal that'll flash a bright color, and that'll kind of let you know that, hey, this isn't something I want to mess with. We also have aggressive behaviors, and aggressive behaviors are going to be more, as the word implies, aggressive. So these will warn the predators not to approach. Okay, and that can be something like a rattlesnake that'll shake its rattle on its tail that'll kind of let you know that it's there. So it's somewhat defensive, but it's also more aggressive. It's letting you know that if you get close, hey, I'm going to come after you. And then finally, the last one is going to be our territorial behaviors. And this is going to defend the area determined by the animal. So this is going to be more in the realms of safety and food, because now I'm doing what? Keeping out any aggressive species, keeping out any competition, so I have more food. And for examples of these, we might see like a male robin, which will claim its territory with a song. So these are just some examples, but these are our 5 behaviors or types of innate behaviors. These are the ones that we're born with. And remember, those deal mostly with food, safety, and propagation of the species. Now, sometimes we can have a combination of innate and learned behaviors, and it forms a more complex behavior that'll come there. And we'll talk about a couple of those now, but you'll get a little bit more in the lessons. The first is this idea of spatial learning. And that's done by recognizing features. And the example they'll use is a wasp that comes back, and the wasp basically will learn that its home is going to be recognized by finding landmarks. And in this case, it'll be a circle of pine cones, and it knows where to find its home from there if it's not around it. Now, if you change it up a little bit and made a circle of stones and a same thing of pine cones but in a triangle, we can determine whether it's the shape of the circle or whether it's the material, being the pine cone. And we found out that it tends to be the shape that gives it this one. So in spatial learning, we kind of learn where things are by landmarks, and animals can do the same thing. Another type of behavior is what we call imprinting. And imprinting is where a baby animal will bond with the first object it sees. And we see a lot of that in ducklings and things of that nature, where when they hatch, they'll imprint on the mom, and that's why they know to follow the mom around. So they just have this innate feeling when they hatch, or this innate behavior, that the first thing they see, that's what they're going to imprint on. So if you're to raise ducks and things like that nature, when they hatch, if you're the first thing they see, then they'd actually imprint on you instead and follow you all around. And then finally, we have what we call observational learning. And that's where you learn by watching or listening to another animal. And they'll talk a little bit about bird song, and that'll be one. And we also talked about the snow monkeys, seeing the other snow monkeys like wash off stuff. They learn that behavior that way. And we get a lot of our learning through observational learning as well. Okay, well, that's it for this video. As always, good luck on the lessons, and we will see you in the next video.